Okay.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to put me in the family. Credit cards and scammers.
Hello. How are you? For some reason you've come across this video. It's the start of a series that we don't know how long it's going to go on for, but we're going to keep going until I run out of seemingly useful bits of advice series. This is for people who are looking to get their start in filmmaking, who are looking to get their start in photography, graduates who studied 3 years of a media-based course and now don't know what they're doing with their lives. Not me. Yeah, we're going to talk in voiceover now because my face is less interesting. Hi, my name is Bryony, or Brian, or Brittany, or Byrony, Briona. I've had several translations over the years, so just go with whatever suits you, but my name is Bryony. I'm 22 and I'm from Belfast. I started getting into photography when I was beginning secondary school. I would try and nab my parents' camera whenever I possibly could and take it along to gigs, random shopping trips with friends. Pretty much everything I went to I would try and document. My family and I have always been massive film buffs. I remember our under the stairs cupboard being filled to the brim with DVDs, videos and so on, and we would always love going to the cinema together. I started getting into filmmaking from making stupid little sketches or videos on my mum's old MacBook. I'm not going to put them here as I would be eternally abused for it, but let's just say I used to use my old Barbies as the actors. At least I was being creative, and we all have to make a start somewhere. I took up media studies or moving images and just absolutely loved it. I made my first attempt at a YouTube channel, and yeah, I mean, the videos weren't great, but I had so much fun learning for hours and hours how to edit, make animations, writing scripts, just everything under the sun to do with filmmaking. And it made me feel really good. And I thought, well, I could go on and do this as a career. So I decided to go off to uni in Bristol and study film as a course. I got so much experience doing film over the 3 years. I got to work on loads of different films in loads of different roles. Once I finished university, I actually went on and worked on a film in Wales where I got to be an assistant art director, and I loved it. Like, it was hard work, but it was my first proper experience of being a big feature film. Now I'm back home. So I thought, while we're all in the same boat, figured I would use this time to create these sort of tutorials for anybody who's looking to learn a little bit more about film or photography. By no means at all am I an expert whatsoever. These are just things that have worked for me, and I really recommend them as a way to start making those steps into the film and photography world. Tip number 1, make sure you have enough space on your memory card. Wow! We all make mistakes. Tip number 1, believing in you. This is one I struggle with a lot because of my lack of self-confidence. You're always going to need some form of self-belief whenever you're creating something, otherwise nothing would be done. Also, you're not going to make a masterpiece every single time. I think the biggest problem with people nowadays is thinking that like their film is going to be the next big Oscar winner, or their photo shoot is going to end up in a Vogue editorial magazine. I don't want to be the crusher of dreams, but that sort of thinking isn't going to help you create. The media industry is tough and it is brutal, and those who have made it are the ones that have made the mistakes along the way and have been willing to make those mistakes. Some examples of directors who have experienced the feeling of having a film flop. Peter Jackson, who's most notably known for directing the Lord of the Rings series. I absolutely love them, but Jackson also directed a film called The Lovely Bones. Now, this was a book adaptation, and the topic was a very sensitive topic. People didn't take lightly to the fact that Jackson tried to incorporate his usual style of, CGI. I think people weren't fans of the fact it was just very over the top, and it left out a lot of essential parts of the story that were in the book originally. So yeah, it flopped. But we don't hold that against him. He's still an amazing director. The Wachowski sisters are also another good example. They directed the Matrix trilogy and also V for Vendetta. They also directed a film called Jupiter Ascending, which just was not very good. Considering the fact it had the likes of Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis and Eddie Redmayne, it just was not good at all. Another really good example is David Fincher, who directed Fight Club. Fight Club is one of my favorite films just for just literally everything about it. The music, the casting, the story, the cinematography, a really iconic film. But, you know, Fincher directed the third Alien movie. If you've seen that, you'll understand why he wants that to be forgotten about. He's even been quoted himself that nobody hates it more than him. Photography is the exact same. You're not always going to go on to shoot and put the right settings in, get the lighting right. You might forget memory card, all sorts. Everything under the sun can happen on your shoots, and probably has happened to the most famous photographers out there. Once you make that mistake, it just means that you can learn and know not to do it again on the next shoot. It's scary, and I don't like doing it. You know, you have to do it because otherwise you're just never going to be able to create and you're not going to feel happy about it. Tip number 2 is finding your niche. All directors and all photographers have a certain aesthetic that they stick to. Wes Anderson is a really prominent one who uses a sort of perfectionism, dollhouse-like feel to all of his films. Once you watch a Wes Anderson film, you know it's his. He uses the pastel colours, he has the same actors usually in his movies, so he has that sort of aesthetic. The same goes for the likes of Quentin Tarantino, who does films which are very spaghetti western, dialogue heavy, usually violent. He's known for those, so you can instantly tell when it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. Photographers are the exact same. One of my biggest inspirations is Annie Leibovitz, who took photos for Rolling Stone and Vanity Fair. She is known for taking photos that focus very much on the lighting setup and look very picturesque, like a painting. All her photos look very similar with that sort of painting-esque vibe to it. Personally, I think it's very hard to get into the film or photography industry whenever you don't have a particular niche and your work is kind of all over the place. Now, that doesn't mean that you only take photos of people or you only take photos of animals. If you're going to change that around, then I would recommend sticking to a particular colour theme or maybe a particular focal length or all that kind of technical stuff. Otherwise, you're not going to be known for a particular niche and a lot of people might breeze over your work because it's similar to like millions and millions of people out there. Using the likes of Pinterest to make mood boards, get inspiration from, look at the type of niche that you're, I guess, attracted to will really help you match up your photos or your film work and make everything have a certain style that you're known for. Lightroom, VSCO, Final Cut Pro, Premiere Pro will help you build up the skills that you need to be able to edit a certain way as well. At the minute, Skillshare are doing 2 months free on all their courses and classes, so use this time in isolation to learn those skills. When you're out in the world, when all this is over, then at least you've got those skills that you can utilize that you've learned in this time. My third tip is to experiment. Practice, practice, practice. You don't need models, you don't need actors, you don't need props, you don't need set to start off, at least. Just use what you have available to you just to begin with. You know, take photos of yourself. Good photos for Instagram. Take photos of your pets, take photos of objects around the house or family. Just use what you have available to you to build up the skills. You don't need a 4 or 5 grand camera or loads and loads of lights or loads of really expensive editing software to be able to get started. Have a look on the likes of YouTube and Pinterest to be able to get ideas for poses or objects that you could use in photos. There's so many resources out there nowadays that we can use in this time of quarantine to build up our skills. Over the next while, why don't you have a think about what films you're drawn to? Comedies or horrors, indie films, coming of age films, romances, thrillers. Then have a think about what you like about those films. It's got your favorite actors in it, the color schemes and the aesthetic, the cinematography or the editing, the sound, maybe the music score. You can do the exact same for photographs, black and white photos, or if you're more drawn to colorful ones, the moody, grungy type ones, or really bright and clean looking photographs. People in it, or nature, or landscapes, animals, experimental and conceptual, documentary style photographs that you would see maybe in a newspaper. Was it shot in a studio? Was it shot outside? These are all really important things when you're trying to work out what your style of photography is.
Right, well, yeah, that's my tips. I always think the best way to get people motivated is doing a type of challenge. So the challenge for this week is self-portraits. You have to take a self-portrait of yourself. It can be on a phone, it can be on a camera, as long as it shows who you are and what makes you you. Now, you can show this in the fashion you wear, you can show this in what props you use, your editing style, whatever you decide, as long as it shows who you are. If you want me to see the photo, you can post it on Instagram and put the hashtag #BriChallenge. But also, if you don't want to post it publicly, you can send it to me private on my Instagram, and yeah, I can just chat to you about it and give you some tips and feedback. If you'd like me to edit your photo for you, or your photos, plural, you can send it to me and I will edit it for you and also provide you with a free preset so that you can use it yourself. I'll also be doing this challenge, even though I hate taking photos of myself. So I'll be posting that on the next video and showing you what I did and how I did that. You could subscribe to my channel down there somewhere. That'll be really helpful. I get really nervous with these YouTube videos. I'm not used to being in front of the camera, I'm very much used to being behind it, so it would mean a lot if you could show your support and give this video a like or share it if you want. I will see you next week with a new video.